What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, MattyB. And the final word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. That's right. You have landed on your final destination of your sports day or night or day and night here on the final word. And we have a lot to get into tonight. I guess first and foremost, I know it's rough, Flyers fans, man. I know. Boy, I know. And it's unfortunate that we are starting to become immune to this type. Maybe I shouldn't say the word immune, but we're starting to become familiar with this. And that's maybe the biggest frustration that I'm having with this whole thing with the Flyers is that it's become commonplace, this type of performance. They lost tonight 7-2. Are just like, it's not even competitive anymore. I know you can't just say, hey, listen, we'll call in the next 9 games and let's just end the season. But boy, man, it's rough. It is rough. We're going to talk about the Flyers tonight because I'm going to continue the conversation that Sal G started on the Clear the Ice program. But we're going to go a different route with it. We're not going to necessarily talk the rest of the season because that's not feasible anymore. I mean, we're gonna lean forward in the foxhole. We're going to lean forward in the saddle. We're going to speak about the future. And the Flyers are actually in a position now where they got to start making some decisions about their future. And we'll get into that. We're 2 days away from the opening day of the Major League Baseball season, and I could not be happier because it is, thankfully, the MLB is the shortest of the off seasons in all professional sports, and it's also one of, not if the longest, of sports throughout the season. So we've come to the end of our off season with the MLB, and we are back officially in 2 days. So we're definitely going to spend a little bit more time talking Phillies as we have our last-minute tune-ups to do as we get ready for the season. We're going to get into some MLB storylines tonight. I want to talk about MattyB's top 5 MLB storylines heading into 2025. Our of the night segment, and of course, our card review, all those great things that we do on the program every single night just for you here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network and on the final word with MattyB. And Joe chiming in. Joe, I'm doing good. How are you? Good to see you again. Funny we meet here every night, but it's great. Keep it up, Joe. Keep up the support. I appreciate it. So yeah, listen, it's been a night. it's been a journey. It's been a struggle for Flyers fans. It's been tough. I get that. And we're going to get into that here. That's going to be my lead topic tonight. It's got to be. I'm going Flyers tonight because I'm a hockey guy, man. I don't know if you guys know this, but hockey is like my 1A to 1B baseball, right? I can't really put one above the other. Now, I am so damn checked out right now on the Flyers, and I'm so checked out on hockey in general. And I usually get this way every time at this time of the season with baseball approaching, but it doesn't help when the product we're watching on the ice is so uncompetitive and so bad. And again, I understand it's got a bigger meaning and a bigger picture here and all that, but we're gonna definitely speak some Flyers tonight. But before I get everything started, and on our day in Philadelphia sports history, that we forgot that. Well, I didn't forget to do it last night. I just got kind of caught up in all the comments, and we never really got around to doing it. But we will get back to your day in Philly sports history. But before I do, I have some special announcements I want to make. I want to give some programming updates to the fine folks that are watching this network and supporting this network. I've teased it over and over again over the last couple months that we are growing. Well, tonight I got final confirmation about 2 situations that we've been working on. There's still one kind of hanging out there that I'm not going to reveal yet, but that's a pretty much done deal as well. But more will follow on that a little bit later. But starting next Thursday, it's my pleasure. Being the CEO and COO of the It's a Wrap Sports Network, to welcome back 2 old friends to the network, Pat Bernard and Steve Fuentes. They are going to return to It's a Wrap, or they're coming over to It's a Wrap Sports Network, and they're bringing the attacking third with them. That's right. If you're looking for union coverage, and I know a lot of you are, and if soccer's your thing, and I know a lot of you it is, well, then look no further than here, because starting on Thursday night, April 3rd, that's next Thursday at 9 p.m., the attacking third will be coming at you every Thursday, starting on the 3rd of April at 9 p.m. And it's as I said, I could not be happier to make that announcement. I could not be happier about the situation. with Steve and Pat coming back to the network. Worked with both of them a lot actually over at EOP, and we're bringing the band back together. I teased that as well. The other programming note I like to announce is a reorganization, I guess, of sort. Well, not really a reorganization, just an update on where we stand with the wraparound with Sal G. Now, Sal, who just did our Clear the Ice and will be a fixture on the Fighting's Final throughout the summer, is stepped away on a little bit of a hiatus from his show. And we've been filling it in with some special guest hosts throughout the weeks. Big Al did it yesterday. Last week was Pat Bernard. And our decision was made tonight. And, of course, I cleared it with Sal and cleared it with all the people that were involved. Starting next Wednesday, not tomorrow Wednesday, but next Wednesday, we're going to shift the wraparound with Sal G to Wednesday nights at 6 with our special permanent guest host, Pat Bernard. So Pat is going to take the reins of the wraparound with Sal G for the foreseeable near-term future. And we'll make a decision based on what Sal wants to do. Because if Sal decides tomorrow that, you know what, he wants to come back, then the show's his, and we go right back to Mondays at 7. But as of right now, we're going to go ahead with this type of format till we get a little bit more clarity on the wraparound with Sal G. So starting next Wednesday at 6 p.m., the wraparound will move to that time and that place, and Pat Bernard will be your permanent guest host for the near-term future. So once again, a great announcement. Very happy that we're able to keep Sal's show going. That's the overarching thing here, is to keep Sal's show on the air until Sal kind of figures out what he wants to do, and then to give an opportunity for Pat to get his feet wet back in over here. So thrilled about those two announcements. And then I told you there's a third one coming, and it is coming soon. I'm not going to reveal it. I think we're going to release something here in the next couple of days or next day or so about the show. It's a show you all know. It's a show you all remember. It's a show that you're familiar with, but it's going to be coming here. And we're looking at an early May release for that show. So we're a little bit out, but we're going to start releasing some information on that here very soon. But I can confirm that the Attacking Third will be returning, or will be coming over to the It's a Wrap Sports Network starting on Thursday, April the 3rd, 2025. That is next Thursday at 9 p.m. And that's the time slot that it will hold, Thursdays at 9. So again, thrilled to death to be welcoming back all these guys to the network. Joe says he's great. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Joe. And he also says, yeah, I love this. Yeah, so do I, Joe. Trust me, so do I. It took some doing. People had to kind of rearrange some things and notify some people, but I'm happy to be able to bring the band back together, so to speak. And again, it's reforming. Yes. And for those of you out there that are thinking, I'm just sort of retreading the live aspect of the Edge of Philly Sports. Well, there's no secret there. I am. I've worked with these guys in the past. I've had much success working with these guys in the past. They all share a common, we all share a common thing, and that's the desire to do this, and the desire to do it as best as we can. So, there was something special happening on the live side of EOP for a few years at the end there. And I obviously I'm not, blind to that. And I want to bring that back, and I want to bring it here, and I want to continue what we started there. And there's no secret to that as well. That's the mission statement. And again, working towards that goal of this network being the first 24-hour, 7-day-a-week digital sports media outlet in Philadelphia and around the world. So, terrestrial radio is dying, folks. It's dying on the vine. No one really wants to listen to it no more. And I understand why. This is the future. There's no getting away from that. And if you can get into what terrestrial radio's doing now and bring it here, it's going to eventually come here in that way. And hopefully the It's a Wrap Sports Network is the pioneer. And that's what we're building for, and that's what we're working towards. And being a network that's only been around for 5 or 6 months, we've made great strides in that direction. So I want to welcome all of the returning Edge of Philly Sports personalities that I worked with in the past back here to your new home, the It's a Wrap Sports. So that's the programming notes I wanted to get out of the way with. And let's get into your so let's get strap it in, strap it on, put your head and feet and hands inside the cart at all times, and let's go, man. Your day in Philadelphia sports history is an event that occurred in 1981. Not sexy, not glamorous, kind of stupid, actually. The Phillies on this day traded Bob Walk to the Atlanta Braves in exchange for Gary Matthews. Now, this was a trade that actually had extreme ramifications for the Phillies. Gary Matthews was a pivotal member of the 1983 team and was a really solid member of the Phillies while he was here. Bob Walk, of course, was one of the first, or was he at the time in 1980, was one of the top, I guess, fifth ever rookie or third ever rookie pitcher to start a World Series game. He did that in 1980 for the Phillies in game one, actually. It was game one against the Royals. He started that. Well, they were traded for each other, and then they would have both eventually go on to become broadcasters. Gary Matthews, of course, would do some time here in Philadelphia, and Bob Walk would go off after his career ended and would be a broadcaster for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So on this day in Philadelphia sports history, the Phillies essentially traded broadcasters, kind of. As I said, it's not a sexy one. It's kind of a stupid one, but that is your moment in Philadelphia sports history. Brought to you by the fine folks here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network that, again, starting next Thursday at 9 p.m., will include the Attacking Third with Pat Bernard and Steve Fuentes, the consummate in Philadelphia Union entertainment. So if you're into soccer, if you're into the Union, if you're into the MLS, then this is the place you need to be. Thursdays at 9, starting on April 3rd for the Attacking Third and all that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So what was yesterday's Philadelphia sports? Was it important like today? No, stupider. Just actually, I'll tell you, Joe, if you really want to know, I'll bring it up for you. So yesterday's, and I remember reading it and thinking, yeah, I'm going to keep going over it. So actually, in 1979, yesterday's day in Philadelphia sports history, March 24th, the Penn Quakers met the Michigan State Spartans in the Final Four of the college basketball tournament. So I don't know if you're a Penn University of Pennsylvania graduate or an alumnus. I guess it might be important. But on this day, on the 24th of March of 1979, the Penn Quakers met the Spartans in the NCAA Final Four. Penn won its 8th Ivy League title in 10 years, but the NCAA tournament was a different machine altogether. Although Penn was once a powerhouse in men's basketball as early adopters of the game from the late 1800s through the 1920s, it was overmatched in the modern Division I tournament format, with the Quakers' 79 effort being the lone exception. No Ivy League team has ever won the tournament, so Penn's Final Four game against Michigan State was an accomplishment that overshadowed its 101-67 loss to the Magic Johnson-led Spartan squad. So in 1979, I guess, was this the year that was that the national championship between Michigan State and Indiana State? That would have been Magic versus Bird that year. I think that was it. So in order for Michigan State to get to Indiana State, they had to beat Penn in the Final Four. Wow. So I guess yesterday's sports fact was probably better. Probably better. Probably better than today's, trading for broadcasters. So yesterday, Penn lost in the Final Four to Michigan State and Magic Johnson. And today, Gary Matthews and Bob Walk were traded for each other, and they would eventually go on to become broadcasters for not the teams they were traded for, because Bob Walk was that broadcaster for the Pirates, not the Braves, the team he was traded for. But Gary Matthews, of course, was a broadcaster here. So there you go. I don't know, Joe, did you like that one better? I love history that you read about Philly sports. Yeah, I love history too. And that's kind of why I incorporate the history of Philadelphia, your day in Philadelphia sports history. And some of them are really good. Like we're about to obviously go through some moments here. We got the Mike Schmidt retirement moment coming. We got a lot of good stuff coming. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, Joe wanted to know what yesterday's moment was, so I gave it to him. It was Penn losing to Michigan State in the NCAA Final Four in 79, and today in 81 was the Gary Matthews Bob Walk broadcaster trade. So there you go. All right, let's move on now and let's talk some hockey, because I got to bring it up, man. I got to bring it up. I know it's not a sexy thing to talk about either. I might as well just read more about the history of Philly sports. But 7-2 tonight. Flyers now are just sinking like a stone, or sinking like the Titanic on a warm spring night. I don't know, but 8 games now under 500. They're being woefully outscored. They're averaging 2.6 goals a game. They're giving up close to 3.5 goals a game. They're almost The Flyers have scored 196 goals so far this season. They've given up 254. So there's a good chance before it's all said and done with 9 games from now is when it's over with. It's a good chance the Flyers will end up getting outscored by over 100 goals this year. A very good chance. The giveaways are completely off the charts. The power play is back to its old terrible ways. The penalty kill is dreadful. Everything about this team stinks. And again, I don't necessarily think it's something that should be taking us by surprise. I do think that it's understandable if you're a Flyer fan, and if you know you're basically what's been kind of leading up to this point. The Flyers don't have any talent, and that's relevant right now or evident. Phantoms have a chance of winning a championship. Well, they have a chance of getting. Well, they're gonna. So right now, the Phantoms hold the 5th position right now in the was it the Atlantic Division in their division in their conference in the AHL. So yeah, they're pretty much going to get to the playoffs. So they're going to have a shot at the Calder Cup. I don't know if they're going to get there or win it, but they're going to have a shot. But it's pretty interesting that you bring up the Phantoms, Joe, because I do want to talk about the Phantoms. I think, Joe, you brought it up yesterday that Luchenko was on his way down from the Guelph Storm because their season has completed, and he will join the Phantoms. But he's not going to be alone, folks, because he's bringing a friend with him. The Flyers have announced that Jet Luchenko, their former first-round draft pick from last season, will be joining the Lehigh Valley Phantoms probably by Friday, and he'll finish out the season playing for the Phantoms. Joining him is Flyers 2023 4th-round pick Alex Chernik from Europe. He's also coming over and beginning his pro career with the Phantoms. So interesting moves here by the Flyers as 2 of their prospects, the future, Chernik, a left wing, right wing, and Luchenko, of course, center, are now going to start their pro careers. Now, they both can return to their countries of origins and league of origins at the end of, or for next season. There's no guarantee like this is not, okay, you're done. You can't be here anymore. They can still have the option of going back to their leagues next season, but this is a great opportunity for them to come in and get some pro experience at the AHL level in the middle of a playoff chase. As Joe Hale mentioned, the Phantoms are going to be rushing for a Calder Cup. And now Jet Luchenko and Alex Chernik are going to be key contributors to that race or that push. So, I'm digging it. And I know I heard Sal saying on the post game, yeah, he went to a Phantoms game. I've been to many. I'm telling you, folks, it's well worth the hour drive to Allentown. It's well worth the minimalistic money you're going to spend on a ticket and the minimalistic money you're going to spend on concessions to take the trip up to Allentown, to the Pepsi Center, as they call it up there, and check out some Lehigh Valley Phantom hockey, especially that Jet Luchenko and Alex Chernik are now going to join the fray and help the Phantoms push for a Calder Cup championship. So there's playoff hockey in Philadelphia. It's just not at the NHL level. And sometimes you got to look for it. And this is actually the 3rd year in a row that the Phantoms will probably make the playoffs, whereas, of course, this is not the 3rd year in a row. The Flyers, it's the 5th year in a row they haven't. So you got to find gold where there's not. And take the hour ride. I'm telling you, you definitely, it will not be, it'll be worth it. And then maybe time it to where the Phantoms game's at night and there's an Iron Pig game on during the day. So you knock out the Iron Pigs, and then you hang out in Allentown, have dinner somewhere, and then pop over to the Pepsi Center and catch the nightcap with the Phantoms, man. Why not? Minor league hockey, minor league sports are fun. And it's going to be even more funner if you have PPL Center. That was the Pepsi Center. Are you sure about that? It's be more fun with some of your definite Flyers of the future in attendance. And they do have a chance to win a championship. I don't know if I put that up already. But that's not the only thing I want to talk about when it comes to the prospects, because there's other news about some other prospects right now, because there's a bunch of Flyers prospects who are in the danger zone. What do I mean by the danger zone? Well, so there's a stipulation. If you're unsigned and draft property of a team, for example, the Flyers, they draft players every year everybody drafts a lot of players, right? They don't necessarily sign those players right away. Some of the players are signed right away. Some of them are not. Now, there's rules about when contracts start for players once they hit pro, but there's no rules. Like, you could sign somebody and stash them away in major junior hockey for 2 years. You could sign somebody and stash them away in the NCAA for 4 years. You can do all that, and their contract will not be affected by that. They'll be signed property of you, and you'll just wait for the opportunity for them to come pro. But then there's other players who the Flyers, you're kind of on the fence about when you draft them. Like they're good projects right now, but they need some refining. They need some work. So we're not going to sign them eventually. We're not going to sign them right now. We're going to let them kind of develop, and then we'll make a decision later on. If you're playing in NCAA hockey, you have till the summer after the player's final year of hockey playing eligibility. So 4 years it could be for some of these guys before they decide they want to sign, or before the Flyers sign them. If you're in a different other league other than the NCAA, it's 2 years after they're drafted by June 1st of the following of after their season. And the Flyers have a bunch of players that are fitting into that danger zone of players who need to be signed within the next few months, or they'll go right back into the drafted pool this year. And we'll talk about some of them real quick. The first one is Brian Zanetti. He's a 4th-round pick in 2021. He's a left defenseman playing in Europe. If he does not sign by June 1st, he will become a free agent again. The Flyers will lose all rights to him. 6'3", 192, very fits the bill. There's been some developmental issues with him. There's been some developmental issues with all these guys we're going to talk about, but he doesn't seem to be able to kind of transition a little bit that they're having problems with. So the odds are he won't be around. Mato Man, you guys remember this guy, the 6'6", 234 hulking defenseman that the Flyers drafted in the 7th round, 2023. Again, another player that, if not signed by June 1st, will return. I don't know if they do get redrafted. They can get redrafted, or they become UDFAs or whatever. But he's another one. And there was really an outside chance that, this was a project pick from the very beginning. Few thought that a 7th round pick, was ever going to really make it here. But he's in the danger zone. Needs to sign by June 1st. Then we got Ty Murchison, who I think we just profiled not too long ago. He's the left defenseman from Arizona State. He has just finished his 4th year of eligibility with the Sun Devils. He has till August 15th to sign with the Flyers, or he'll become a free agent or go back into next year's draft. And then the most intriguing player out of all these to me is Carter Sotheran, a 5th round pick in 2023, a right-hand defenseman, 6'3", 198. I really liked him coming out. I remember when the Flyers selected him, I was high on him that year. I was surprised he fell to the 5th round. This guy has the tools. It just has not really, he's not taken that next step in major junior hockey, and he remains unsigned. And again, if the Flyers do not sign him by June 1st, he is no longer property of the Flyers. So those are 4 players that the Flyers are in danger of losing over the next few months if they don't make a decision on them. Now, in retrospect, here are some players that are signed currently with the Flyers and could have very possible shots of showing up at some point this spring along with Chernik and Lachenko, or definitely in play, and the Flyers will probably pick up their deals heading into next season, and we'll talk about them. The very highly coveted Oliver Bonk, the 1st round pick in 2023. I guarantee you, I swear to God, if they don't bring him on, if he is not a Phantom, at least a Phantom next year, I'm going to burn down the Wells Fargo Center. I swear, I'm just done. There's nothing that Oliver Bonk needs to go back to London for a 5th year and accomplish. It's time for him to make the jump. At 6'2", 179, yeah, he needs to put on some weight, but he's a right-hand defenseman. He's a scoring machine. He's that quarterback, that potential power play quarterback that the Flyers need. And he's going to be, I'm telling you, he's going to be a story to follow next year during developmental camp and also during training camp. So look for Oliver Bonk to make the move. Again, he is already signed. It's just a matter of when they're going to pull him. The Flyers should have about 7 internal contracts to give away next summer. I would not be surprised if Oliver Bonk did not get one of those slots, or 7 contract slots to give away. I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get one of those. The next player is Denver Barkey. Again, a highly touted 3rd round pick in 2023, centerman, scoring machine, but there's just some issues with the 5'9", 154 pounds. I know I know he's a growing boy and all that. I don't know where he's weighing in these days at, but it's that that's just too small. I mean, that's like teenage boy stature right there. So I don't know if he'll be able to hold up in the NHL. If he can't put on the necessary weight this summer, I would have no problem sending him back to London for another year until he grows up. I mean, he's got the skill set, but he just doesn't have the profile. He doesn't fit the physical profile of an NHL centerman. It's an interesting situation with Barkey, man. It really is. So I'd be really interested to see what the Flyers do with him next summer. The other player, Spencer Gill, again, under contract, would be finishing his 4th year of major junior hockey. Right-hand defenseman, 5'11", 185. He's got the tools as well. He should be also one of those players be given a contract next summer to at least be a phantom, because there's no more that I need to see from certain players, and he's one of those. And maybe the most coveted player on this list is Carson Bjornsson, the goalie from the Brandon Wheat Kings, the 2023 second-round pick. That's right. He's a goalie, man. And boy, do we need some help there. Finishing his 5th year at Brandon. There's no way he's going back to major junior hockey next year. He's going to be a Flyer. He's going to be probably the backup or potentially the starter in Lehigh Valley next year. Do the Flyers keep around Kovasov, which I don't know if they will or not. Do they keep him? I don't know. But I would definitely think he would fit the profile of being at least the backup to start the season in Lehigh, and then at some point during the season, turning the reins over of the Phantoms to him, as he is the first new goalie in the chute that should get a shot at getting the starting job for the Flyers. So Carson Bjornsson, the first goalie. Now not Carson, but Igor Zaradin is a little bit like a year or so behind Bjornsson right now. So, and again, he plays in Russia, so you know about what that's all about. So, but Carson Bjornsson should be a Flyer, or at least a prospect, or a phantom next season. So those are the players that are currently under contract that should be making the jump to pro hockey, along with potentially Jet Lachenko and Alex Chernik. And those two individuals will be coming this week. So I know it's bleak right now, and I know there's nothing sexy in what I'm talking about when it comes to Chernik, Lachenko, Bonk, Berkey, Gill, and Bjornsson. Not right now. There isn't. They're just the next group of potential never will be's. I get it, and I understand the jadedness, and I'm on board, but there's at least something coming down the pike. And I just talked about six players right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 players that could potentially be at the very least bit in Lehigh Valley next year to help backfill what's going on with the Flyers. And if we make some good trades and some more good drafting and maybe sign a free agent or two, maybe we start this rebuild, this actual machine moving in the right direction. So I wanted to address that. I wanted to talk about some of the prospects and some of the future potential prospects that this team has and how close they actually are, some of them, of joining the Flyers next year. So I just wanted to spend a little time with that. Michael Papernick says, Flyers are the Samuel Dellenberg of hockey. Good God, man. All I heard with Dellenberg was he was a project in the works for years. Sounds like the Flyers. Yeah, I mean, Mike, it's hard for me to really kind of go against you on that. It is. And then I just kind of just said that. I know that, you know, if you keep sticking your face in the fan, you're going to keep getting hurt. I understand that, but you can't stop. You got to keep rolling, and you got to keep hoping that this is the crop, right? This is the crop of players. At least these 6 that I'm talking about, they have 7 contracts to give out. Let me rephrase that. These players are all under contract. They're already signed, but they have 7 internal contract slots to give next year to AHL prospect players. I have to think that these 6 are 6 out of the 7. You know, it makes no sense logistically to keep playing them in the level that they're at right now. They've already sort of dominated at that level. Now Lachenko, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if you can justify putting your first round pick down there in the AHL. I don't know. I don't look at Lutsenko as a first round draft pick. I never have. I didn't think he was a reach where they got him. I've said that before, but you got to keep hope alive, man. You can't quit. You got to keep, you got to not stop. So, it's positive. It really is. It's something positive to look at heading into next season. I know it's going to do nothing for this season. And again, if you're a hockey fan and if you just need the fix of hockey, you got it about an hour north of Philly, in Lehigh Valley, in Allentown, and you're going to be able to see Lutsenko. You're going to be able to see Cernik. You're going to be able to see some of the Flyer, some other Flyer players. And we've talked about the Phantoms. There's nothing really much there other than maybe those two, but they're making a push for the playoffs. They're going to make a Calder Trophy run at this, and it's hockey and it's playoff hockey. So go ahead and do what you got to do. Can they trade for more slots? They cannot trade for more slots, like contracted slots. They can't do that. This is at the AHL level. What I'm talking about. It's the NHL level doesn't. This is not affecting that. They have EC. So all these players are on their ELCs, their entry level contracts, right? Once they come down, they get slotted in the AHL. The AHL has each AHL team has a certain number of ELC slots and PTO slots, playing contracts, right? So the ELCs are for your future of your NHL team. The PTO and the other slots are for filling out the roster. You know what I mean? So, it's sort of a balance there of the protected players that you signed and that you want as part of the future of your organization. And then there's the guys that are trying, like a Dickens, to make a career out of pro hockey. And they're just trying to catch on where they can and impress somebody enough to make it to the NHL. So that's kind of how that works in hockey. So the Flyers have they'll have 7 slots. Once they get rid of Cal Peterson's ass, they'll have 7 slots to give away next year at Lehigh Valley. And there's 6 players that we just talked about that should fit those 7 slots. Now, I don't know who would be the 7th one, but that's what it is. So again, it's all about trying to stay positive. And I understand it's easier said than done, but I wanted to bring that up, and because I knew it's getting tough, man. It's getting real tough, and I'm going to feel that toughness myself on Thursday because I'm in the goddamn breach against the Canadians. That's right. I'm making my return to Clear the Ice. I haven't done a Clear the Ice post-game show probably since, I don't know, man, like early February. It's been a minute since I've been on the Clear the Ice program, but I'm going to return in order to take the Canadians down, or for the Canadians take the Flyers down, whatever comes first there. And of course, I'll also be on Thursday doing the Fighting's final season opener with Sal G against the Nationals. There will be no final word on Thursday night because there's going to be too much of me anyway. But so I feel you, man. Trust me, I feel you. I got to talk about a 7-2 loss. I mean, how do you do that? But we'll see. But there's my Flyers points. Let's now transition to a more pleasant conversation. It's baseball. And baseball, it comes to Phillies, but it's not just Phillies, folks. There's other MLB teams that are going to start their journey for the World Series trophy. And I compiled MattyB's 5 storylines, MLB storylines to start the season. There may be some Phillies. Is there Phillies in here? Yeah, I think there's one Phillies. But it's not just Phillies. It's Major League Baseball. And these are the 5 things that I'm looking at to start the season. Number 5, a little drum roll. Paul Skeens. Yep. Does the phenom continue? How does Paul Skeens come out for year 2? And more importantly, how do MLB teams attack him in year 2? His baseball card sold for $1.11 million just a few days ago. Is somebody going to be left holding a bag here real soon? Because that's the way the card business goes. You sell high and you buy low. So how's Paul Skeens going to come out in year 2? And how is the MLB going to attack him in year 2? And how do the Pirates, who seem to be one of those teams every year, them and the Reds, they get their fan base so excited for the first 2 months of the season, and they fall apart by Memorial Day. So is this the year that Paul Skeens, maybe it's the Paul Skeens thing. Does Paul Skeens take the Pirates, who have a very good young pitching staff, along with some really good young players? Are they able to kind of step out of the muck finally and get back to the playoffs for the first time in like 15 years? And does Paul Skeens lead the way? And is more importantly, in my storyline, is Paul Skeens an actual ace? So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that as we start 2025. Number 4 is the New York Yankees. And I hate the freaking Yankees. Cannot stand them. But, they were pilfered last year, losing Juan Soto, losing some players. They did pick up some others. Who do the Yankees get free agent-wise to kind of round out their roster? Let's look at their lineup. This is their projected lineup here. Jazz Chisholm, of course, was a trade deadline pickup from the Marlins. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. Cody Bellinger is one of the free agent pickups. Or did they trade for him? That's right. Didn't the Cubs trade him? Stanton, if he can be healthy. Now, that's a big get right there, is if Giancarlo Stanton can actually stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, it's a game changer. Paul Goldschmidt, the Yankee this year. That was another big free agent pickup. Austin Wells, Jason Dominguez, Anthony Volpe, and Oswaldo Cabrera round out your New York Yankee offensive. Of course, the big name missing out of that lineup is Juan Soto. But if Stanton can be healthy, he could probably supplant or pick up the slack that Soto left behind. But where the Yankees really are going to struggle, and I think this is something that, of course, they weren't really thinking it was going to happen to them. It's going to be pitching. Losing Garrett Cole to Tommy John surgery is pretty bad. So does Carlos Rendon and the free agent acquisition of Max Fried, Marcus Stroman, Carlos Carrasco, and Will Warren, is that a rotation that can carry the Yankees through a extremely tough American League East, where they'll have to do battle with the always stingy Baltimore Orioles and the revamped on the way up Boston Red Sox? And I don't know what Toronto's at right now. I think they're still kind of behind the pack of the rest of them. But the AL East is pretty stacked, and it's as stacked as the NL East is. And do the Yankees have enough pitching? And I think if Stanton can stay healthy, they have enough hitting. But there's a rotation that's now less than Garrett Cole, featuring Carlos Rendon, Max Fried, Marcus Stroman, Carlos Carrasco, and Will Warren. Is that the rotation that the Yankees can win a World Series with? So the Yankees, the way they start 2025 is something I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on. My number 3 storyline is the run back Phillies, folks. Yeah, I had to put them in there. And I mean, when I say the run back Phillies, I mean it on all fronts, man. I mean running back the same players, running back the same coaches, running back the same manager, and running back the same tired old ideas, like leading off Kyle Schwarber, like a bullpen with no roles. How do the run back Phillies get going in 2025? And what is the repercussions of a slow start for the Phillies starting the season? I mean, we've discussed that. And I actually would think it would be a better way for the Phillies to start, because maybe that would get them off their ass and make some changes where it needs to be made before it's too late, ultimately too late. But how do the run back Phillies fare in 2025 in a revamped NL East with some real offensive machines that they're going to have to deal with in their own division? So the run back Phillies are my number 3. My number 2 is the Mets offense. Yep, the Mets invested a ton of money on revamping their offense. Juan Soto, re-signing Pete Alonso. They're trying to kind of stay with the Phillies. They're not quite there with their pitching. But is the offense going to be enough for the New York Mets to take a 162 thing, run this thing, take the Phillies down, and take the Braves down? Or are the Mets one of those teams that want to lie in the bushes? Again, the philosophy of winning divisions is no longer necessarily the big thing anymore, right? With the extra wild card spot, a lot of teams, and we talked about this, I think, 2 years ago, they lay back. They understand it's a 162 game season, and they understand there's 3 wild card positions to be won in each league. So going all out to try to win your division is not necessarily the way forward anymore. So what approach do the Mets take? And is that offensively laden team that's lacking in some pitching, do they have enough to even lay back? Do they have enough to compete in the very high strong NL East and National League? And my number one story, of course, heading into this season, it's got to be Dodger Mania in the Los Angeles Dodgers. Are they building a dynasty? Are we watching the dawn of the Los Angeles Dodger dynasty? Is Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Mookie Betts, if you can ever figure out what's wrong with him. The guy's having some serious health issues where he can't even like eat food. But are we seeing the dawn of a Dodger dynasty? And how does that play itself out to start the season? So there you go. My 5 storylines, MattyB's 5 MLB storylines to keep an eye on as we get ready to start the season in about 2 days. So loved it. And one last note, and I think this might have slipped by a lot of people because it slipped by me. Alex Verdugo was actually signed by the Braves back on March 20th. So Verdugo, who I wanted to be here, I wanted to bring his ass here, stick him in our outfield, is now going to be a Brave. So I wanted to just remind everybody that Alex Verdugo is joining the NL East and he's joining the Braves. So way to go there, Dombrowski. So I wanted him. I wanted him bad. And I think we could have got him cheap. I really do. But he's now a Brave. All right. Moving right along, let's get to the Of the Night segment. All right, Of the Night segment. We're going trifecta tonight. We're going 3 for 3. We're actually going for 4. We're doing 2 of 1 and then 1 of 2 of 2. Last night I said we were done with the Philly spotlights, and I really meant that because I thought finishing up with Zach Wheeler was the appropriate thing to do. But then as I thought about it, I got to give credence to the players who make the team. And if I'm not going to focus on these two, even though I don't appreciate them making the team and I don't agree with them making the team and I don't think it's worth my time, I'm still going to pay attention to them. So let's start off with our final 2 Philly Spotlight players of 2025. This is definitely it. I'm not doing any more after this. Cody Clemens is who made the team. I think he made the team. I'm pretty sure he did. 44 games last year, 219 batting average, 5 homers, 18 RBIs, and 705 OPS. And he did make 1 pitching appearance in Philadelphia last year when the game was out of hand. So he checks that box that Garrett Stubbs left behind. And Johan Rojas, the other center fielder, 120 games last year. Actually, I don't know how he scraped out a 243 batting average, 3 homers, 62 RBIs, and a very, very pedestrian, pitiful 601 OPS. Is what you got there in Johan Rojas. And that, knows how fast I did that. That is your bench. That rounds out the bench. That rounds out the team. And, that's how we're going to roll into 2025. Now, I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but we have now gone over all 26 players. Actually, we've done more than 26, but we've done the 26 that will probably make the Phillies roster, which I think has to go to MLB tomorrow or today. But there you go. The Philly Spotlight is now officially kaput for the year. Next time we'll do a Philly Spotlight will be when we spotlight the 2026 Phillies next, and we start that next January. So I'm giving it the seal of approval. I'm done. Let's now check in on our MLB draft prospect of the night, and that was Mr. Gavin Klein, the shortstop from Tennessee. Klein spent his first 2 college seasons in Louisville batting a .330, .361, and .591 with 9 homers last spring before becoming the most prominent member of a deep Tennessee transfer class. He always has shown a knack for putting the bat on the ball, though his raw power and speed are average at best, and he may move to second base with the Volunteers because of the presence of the next guy on the list. And that is somebody we'll talk about later on. But Gavin Klein, project shortstop, he might be more of a fringe second rounder, but again, he's got the tools, man, and not electric enough for me to take a pick on him in the first round. I'm not a big fan of Gavin Klein. I've watched him play. Actually, I watched him up close and personal play, but he's got tools and he's got potential. But lower first round, high second round potentially to pick there. So there's Gavin Klein, our our draft prospect, MLB draft prospect of the night. And that will wrap things up with our Phillies prospect, another player that I would not be surprised that when it's all said and done with in 2025, that he actually comes here. Gabriel Racones Jr., a 6'3" left-handed hitter. Racones has the frame strength and capacity to be a good hitter with plenty of power. But while he did it 11 homers in his shortened season with Reading last year, he still has a hit-first mentality at the plate. His metrics are solid with good exit velo and walk rates, and he rarely chases, giving him a chance to hit at this level. The key will be for him to find ways to tap into his natural strength without sacrificing any of that hit tool. So when you look at potential near-term help for the Phillies, you look at him, you look at Justin Crawford, and you look at Aiden Miller and Andrew Painter. Those are the next crop of minor leaguers that will be making their appearance at some point, I think, starting this year. Now, whether or not Andrew Painter is the only one that shows up this year, and then we see Racones and Crawford next year, I don't know, but I do think you're going to see at least 3 out of the 4 at some point in 2025. I think you'll see Racones. I think you're going to see Crawford, and I think you'll see Painter. And I don't know if that's a good sign if you see them. I don't know if the things have gone completely off the rails and that's what they're doing. They're calling players up, or it's because these players are just pushing their time, pushing for opportunities to play, and it's just not getting done up here. Either way, it might not, or maybe it's injury. Who knows? But Gabriel Racones is definitely part of the future. If he's not dealt, again, I said this too, there's back in my head, I'm concerned that Dave Dombrowski, fearing for the loss of his job, starts getting stupid with our farm system in order to chase a World Series. I'm very concerned about that. And I should have probably put that down as one of my, that's not going to be one of my top 5 stories heading into the league or into the season, but that's definitely going to be one of my top 5 stories at the midway point at the All-Star break is what Dave Dombrowski does to our farm system. But there you go. Gabriel Racones Jr. definitely got the tools. Spent the majority of the spring with the Phillies, played really well, had a great spring with the Phillies, and it is just a matter of time before him, Crawford, Painter make an appearance. Miller a little bit further down the line, I think, but these are definitely the players that are right there. If Harper gets hurt, Clemens goes to first, and the Phillies call up J.P. Crawford. Yeah, that could possibly happen. Gabriel Racones Jr. is going to be good. I think he's going to be very good, and I think he is definitely your I would say your right fielder of the future, right? When Castellanos' contract expires. I mean, he could be your left fielder next year when they don't re-sign Kepler. I don't know, but he's definitely going to be pushing. And Crawford will be a September call-up. I don't think so, Joe. I think Crawford shows up before that. I really do. I really, really, truly do. I really do. And that's just me. I don't like our outfield at all. I don't like the way it's set up. I don't like handing the keys over to Brandon Marsh saying, you know what, dude, you're going to bat every day. Because you can't hit left-handed pitching to save your life. And we haven't really fixed that. But you know what? You're it, man. And how funny would that be if that's the only change that Rob Thompson made out of everything, was that he took away the platoon from Brandon Marsh and makes him the everyday center fielder. How ridiculous would that be if that's the only change Rob Thompson makes? Oh, my God. Oh, the potential. Okay. There you go. There's my other night segment. We captured in some prospects. Now let's get to the best part of the night, man. Yep. It's the MattyB card review portion of our show. It's the time where we sit back and we dwell into the world of sports cards. That's right. We go into one of my very vast sports cards in my vast collection, rip around some facts, talk about some things, have fun with it. And last night was what? Was that Schmidt? No, that wasn't Schmidt last night. That was 2 nights ago. What did we do last night? Last night was Dennis Martinez, El Presidente. Well, we're going to stay in baseball. Been a baseball-themed week, of course. That's opening day. We're going to get to one of the all-time greats, one of the best third basemen ever to play the game. No, not that one, because we already talked about him, but maybe the top, number 4 on the list of all-time great third baseman? That would be Wade Boggs. That's right, man. Mr. Boston Red Sox, New York Yankee himself, and Mr. Sex Scandal, Wade Boggs. I was actually at a event about a year ago where he was signing cards, and it was really a very very reasonable. It was only charging $5 for a signature. I mean, that's pretty damn good for a Hall of Famer. That's that his cards are pretty valuable. Even his base cards, they're fairly valuable. This is the 91 Dunross Wade Boggs. About, depending on what database you're looking at, there's card ranges anywhere between $5 and $45. And if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one of the error cards, which means there's a manufacturer's error on the card, or a print error, I should say, on the card. There's one floating around there's one floating around of him out there that has, you flip over the back of it, and up there in the top right corner, it has 1991 Leaf Incorporated printed in USA. But after the word incorporated, there's no period. If you happen to have one of those error cards, that card's worth about $500. So Wade Boggs, all his cards are pretty valuable. I have an 87 Topps All-Star card of his. It's worth about $500. And that's a base card. So as a PSA 10, of course. But Wade Boggs, of course, we don't really. I think we've gone over Wade. I have multiple Wade Boggs cards in the set in my collection. What can I say? 12-time All-Star, a World Series champion, 96 with the Yankees, won the Gold Glove twice, 8-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 5-time batting champion. His number is retired in Boston. His number is retired in Tampa. He's also a member of the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame and the Tampa Ray Hall of Fame. He only played in Tampa for 2 seasons, and yet he got his number retired. Lifetime average of 328, over 3,000 hits, 118 home runs, and just over 1,000 runs batted in. And of course, a first ballot inductee into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2005, receiving 92% of the votes. Schmitty got 96% of the votes when he went in. I don't know how he didn't get 100. Who in the hell didn't vote for Mike Schmidt? But there you have Wade Boggs. Of course, major part of his career, or the best parts of his career, was spent with the Red Sox from 82 to 92. Spent 5 seasons with the Yankees, which was, of course, taboo and killed him in Boston with the Boston Red Sox faithful. But there you have Wade Boggs, his 1991 Dunross card. Here it is in its physical form right here for you. This is a pretty clean version of it. I'd say this is probably about a PSA 9 or 10. If I went and sent this to grading, I'd probably be sitting on a $45 card. And in this condition right now, I could sell it. I could move it for about $7. I could probably push it at 10, but I could definitely move it at 7. If I send it out for grading, maybe $45. I could move it. But it's a fairly valuable card as a base card in the 91 Dunross set. So there you go, man. Your card of the night segment is the or MattyB's card review, not the card of the night, card review. He was a great player, Joe, and thankfully for us, he played in the American League. But that's going to take me to the end. But before I do sign off, I do want to add in another special little part of this program, because as we are wrapping up the NHL season again, let me advertise this. We are coming to the end of Clear the Ice, and Sal had you tonight. I'll have you Thursday. Sal will be back on Saturday, and then me and Mike will wrap up our Clear the Ice on Monday the 31st against the Predators. And that'll be it for Clear the Ice until next season. But there is something to still kind of look at if you're a Flyers fan. At the Flyers, and no, it's not the losses. It's the battle for the Calder Cup, or the Calder Trophy, not the Calder Cup. Excuse me. The Rookie of the Year award from the NHL. The Flyers have a candidate right now pushing for that award, and that's MattyB entering play tonight. He's got 51 points. He's third amongst all rookies in points. Lane Hudson, the defenseman from Montreal, is your first at 53. Macklin Celebrini got 52. Matt B at 51. Will Smith at 36. And Cutter Gauthier wrapping the top 5 at 34 points. Gauthier has put together a 13-goal, 21-assist season. Pretty solid year for him, considering the start he got off to. But MattyB is in the running, I guess, for the Calder. And I don't know if he gets it. I think that when you look at what Celebrini's done in San Jose, and if you look at what Hudson's done in and don't forget Hudson's a defenseman. He's got 5 goals and 48 assists. So I don't know. I think that's pretty impressive. But there's a race there. So if you're pushing for Mitchkov as he makes his push for the Calder, root him on. He's got a shot. He does. He's got to start turning it up a little bit. Got to start putting the puck in the net a little bit more. But he's got a chance with 9 games left to play to win that award. So there goes. Good luck, Matt V, on your chase for the Calder and everything you've done this season to sort of give some sort of credence to the season, right? There was some optimism at one point, and he was that. But we'll see. All right, this is going to wrap me up. Tomorrow night, I will be back for my final episode of our broadcast week because Thursday, all bets are off. It's the first day of baseball. I got 2 post-game shows to do that day, so I will not be coming at you on Thursday night, but I will be back tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel for this program. Joe House says, great show tonight. Joe, thank you as always for tuning in and being part of it. I appreciate it. And that goes to everybody else who's watching. Please do us a favor, like and subscribe on all of our platforms. As we're growing, I made the announcement at the beginning of the show, and I'll make it again starting next Thursday, the 3rd of April. The Attacking Third with Steve Fuentes and Pat Bernard is coming to the network, and we're looking forward to it. And we're doing something with the wraparound with Sal G starting on next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the wraparound with Sal G will have a permanent special guest host. Pat Bernard will be taking over the reins as your permanent special guest host of the wraparound with Sal G, and we're going to move it to Wednesdays at 6 until Sal, until we figure out what Sal wants to do and go forward from there. So, but if Sal decides at whatever point Sal decides, I'm coming back, that he's back in and it's his show again, and we push it back to Mondays at 7 or wherever he wants to put it. So, but starting next Wednesday, Pat Bernard will be taking over permanent special guest host duties of the wraparound with Sal G, and it'll be on Wednesdays at 6. So we're looking forward to that as we welcome in Steve and Pat to the network. And we have one more big announcement to make, but I can't make it yet. Be on the lookout for it. We're going to start teasing it a little bit more. Matter of fact, there's Easter eggs everywhere. You just got to look for them. Of the 3rd show, or the next show, or the other show that we're bringing in. There's Easter eggs everywhere. You just got to open your eyes. But we're going to start teasing it, and we'll make that announcement real soon as well. But you guys have a great rest of your night. Even better tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow, we will be 24 hours away from the start of the baseball season, 24 hours away from the start of the Philly season, and 24 hours away from the start of the Fighting's Final Season 4 here on the It's Rap Sports Network. So keep that in mind. Let's get through Wednesday as fast as we can. Let's get on to the business of Thursday. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow.